Hey, I'm Daniel with Android Central, and we are in Las Vegas for CES 2019, and we just went hands-on with this, the Snapdragon 855 reference device from Qualcomm. And while we've already brought you a little bit of information about Qualcomm's upcoming flagship SoC slated to hit devices like the Galaxy S10, the OnePlus 7, and many others in the coming months, we had an opportunity today to benchmark this reference device. And without getting specifically in the weeds, though, if you want to see some numbers, hit up our link in the description below and subscribe while you're there. We wanted to talk a little bit about what you can expect from the Snapdragon 855 when it hits devices later this year. So this is probably the biggest generational leap we have seen since the Snapdragon 820. From the Snapdragon 810 to the 820, that was a really, really big jump. And the going from the Snapdragon 835 to the 845 was, 20-25% average improvement on benchmarks like Antutu, like Geekbench, like GFX Bench, and many others. But what we're seeing here is amazing. We're seeing 40 to 75% improvement in almost every single benchmark. And what Qualcomm's saying is that because of all of these things that they put in place, from the new Prime core to the more powerful efficiency cores to the stepped up normal performance cores, we have a lot of different things in place that will ensure better performance from all of the devices running on the Snapdragon 855. Not to mention the fact that we have a much faster Hexagon DSP and a much improved Spectra ISP for image signal processing. Now, that Hexagon DSP is interesting because Qualcomm also offered us the opportunity to benchmark a bunch of AI tests to show where they're leading ahead of Huawei's Kirin devices and even Apple's A-series chips. But we decided not to really focus on those because those benchmarks are not standardized yet. There are so few ways that you can compare apples to apples for AI benchmarks. We are going to hold off until we have a better testing bed to facilitate those. But right now, what we can say is that when you get a device later this year with a Snapdragon 855, you're going to get insanely good performance across the board, and this is going to be one of the biggest updates that we've seen from any Qualcomm GPU, SoC, CPU, GPU in many, many years. So just wanted to give you a quick update there. Again, hit up our link in the description below for all of those numbers. And we are here all week at CES 2019, so stay tuned for lots of videos from Android Central. My name is Daniel Bader. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again next time.
Hey there, my name's Gary Sims and this is Android Authority. Now, at the end of last year, Qualcomm unveiled the Snapdragon 855, and this year we're going to see lots of flagship devices using the new processor. Now, when those devices come out, of course, we're going to test the performance characteristics, including running benchmarks like Antutu and Geekbench, and also Speed Test G. Now, while I was at CES in Las Vegas, I was able to test a Snapdragon 855 device, and that was the Qualcomm reference device. A device that Qualcomm build so that it can show the capabilities of an 855 smartphone and also help their partners build smartphones as well. And I went to this benchmarking session and I was able to run Speed Test G and Antutu and Geekbench. So if you want to find out what I discovered, please let me explain. Okay, so first of all, let's look at the traditional benchmarks, Geekbench and Antutu, and see what results I was able to get from this Qualcomm reference device. So starting off with Geekbench, the current leader for the single core score is the Exynos 9810 with a score of 3,300, and the fastest Snapdragon 845 has a speed of around 2,400. Now, when I performed the testings, I found that the Snapdragon 855 has a score of 3,500. 518. That's a massive 46% higher than the Snapdragon 845. And when it comes to the multi-core test, the current leader was the Snapdragon 845 with 8,850. The closest Exynos was with 8,500, and the score that the 855 managed was 11,198. Again, a massive 26% increase over the Snapdragon 845. And when it comes to Antutu, the current fastest device is the Huawei Mate 20 with a score of 306,608, and the fastest Snapdragon 845 phone is the Asus phone with a score of 296,726. And when I tested the Snapdragon 855 using the Qualcomm reference device, it scored 360,444, 17% faster than the fastest Snapdragon 845 device on the market today. I've also got the GFX bench scores, and you'll find those in the article that accompanies this video on the Android Authority website. Now, I also had the chance to run Speed Test G, and so what I did is I brought a Note 9 with the Snapdragon 845 in it, and I pitted it against the Qualcomm reference device, ran it side by side. Now, the current best speed for Speed Test G is 1 minute and 45 seconds by the Pixel 3. So let's see how the Snapdragon 855 does in Speed Test G. Okay, so we've got the Qualcomm reference device on the left with the Snapdragon 855. We've got the Samsung Galaxy Note 9 on the right-hand side with the Snapdragon 845. And already we can see that the 855 is going into a clear lead. Now, we are expecting a lot of CPU improvements here in the 855, maybe not so much in the GPU, but this test will tell us how it really is in the real world. And clearly, still the 855 the lead. Both phones are now into the Bloom test, so the 845 is doing a good showing. It's certainly not being completely destroyed here. However, the 855 is clearly in the lead. Now into the SQL Lite. Look at that on the Note 9. It clearly overtook the reference device in that SQL test. Now, we've seen that on other test runs where some devices can just blast their way through that SQL test, and it has now taken the lead over the 855. So the 855 is now having to catch up. Now, will it be able to catch up from that thing? And it has. It's now got back into the lead. It's taken over. It's in the 16 thread test. So look at that. That one test really did make it fall back there, but it's dug deep. It's been able to carry on, and now here we are. It's into the Unity test already. This will really test the GPU, and now the Note 9 is also going into the Unity test. It's looking very smooth on the left-hand side there. This does look like a good, solid run by the 855. The 845 is also doing well. Adreno 640 versus the Adreno 630. Let's see which one is going to come out top. Of course, we expect to be the one on the left-hand side. Oh, it's blasting now through this scene. Much better than the 845 is doing. Coming down to that final castle scene, which can be quite tricky, but the 855 is handling it well. It's into the compression test, and it's tearing its way through that because of that advanced CPU. It's going to come to an end any moment now. And what have we got? 1 minute and 37.9 seconds. So remember, the overall time, best time is 1:45. Let's see what the Galaxy Note 9 can do in this test. There you go, 1:47.8. So clearly a win there by the reference device, 10 seconds faster than the Snapdragon 845 in the Note 9. And there you have it, a clear win there by the Qualcomm reference device. That makes it the fastest device that's ever run Speed Test G. And I'm sure this year when we see the flagship devices coming out, they're going to be turning in even better scores as we go through the year. Okay, that's it. My name's Gary Sims. This is Android Authority. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Gary Explains channel. And, well, that's it. I'll see you in the next one.
So mobile gaming is bigger than an elephant's ball bag right now, and it's no surprise that Qualcomm chose to focus on the gaming prowess of its new Snapdragon 855 chipset here at the Snapdragon Summit in Maui. We've had the chance to go hands-on and test out some games on prototype Snapdragon 855 smartphones, and here is our early review. And don't forget, for more on the latest and greatest tech, to hit subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers. When it comes to performance, the Snapdragon 855 boasts some serious grunt. In Qualcomm's benchmarking tests, the Cryo 485 CPU is up to 45% faster than last year's Snapdragon 845, while the Adreno 640 GPU is up to 20% faster. The 855 platform delivers consistently smooth performance too, unlike its main rivals, so you shouldn't see any sudden stutters or unexpected slowdown in the middle of your gaming session. The phrase elite gaming has been chucked about quite a lot by Qualcomm out here at the Snapdragon Summit, and it's basically a cover-all term for all of the new features introduced by the Snapdragon 855 for gaming. One of the biggest new features is the Vulkan 1.1 support, a first for mobile tech and one which has a serious impact on how games look and play. In our hands-on gaming session, we were proper impressed by the true HDR graphics on show at one demo point. This basic walk-around experience is being streamed from a mock smartphone running the Snapdragon 855 to a 4K HDR telly, and as you can see, the results are rather spectacular. Light and shadows are reproduced in an eerily realistic fashion, from the flickering torches inside to the hazy glare of the sun once you step outside. These visuals are as close to natural as we've ever seen from a mobile device. Colour reproduction is also stunning, with a wide range of hues on show. The Snapdragon 855 supports a 10-bit colour depth, which delivers over 1,000 different shades of each primary colour, for a complete palette covering more than 1 billion different shades overall. And when customised gaming experiences start rolling out on Snapdragon 855 smartphones, you can expect all kinds of funky effects such as depth of field, things like that, to really draw you in and immerse you into the experience. The Snapdragon 855's Wi-Fi 6 prowess was also on display in a couple of different demo points. As well as the advanced WPA3 security and improved power efficiency, you get full support for 60 GHz Wi-Fi, which allows up to 10 GB per second downlink. We tested out the Snapdragon's Wi-Fi efforts with an utterly bonkers racing game, which was streamed over Wi-Fi from another Snapdragon 855 prototype phone to a nearby telly. There was absolutely zero latency between the two, so you can happily play on the big screen while you're chilling at home, rather than squinting at that tiny smartphone display. Consoles there, who needs them? As I briefly touched on before though, the biggest deal with the Snapdragon 855 is that it apparently, according to Qualcomm of course, delivers consistently strong performance. In benchmarking conditions, the results were steady, while Huawei's Kirin 980 and the Apple A12 fluctuated over time. So that's definitely great news if you're playing lengthy game sessions on the likes of PUBG then. So that in a nutshell is how Snapdragon 855 smartphones are going to be absolute beasts when it comes to gaming. The first Snapdragon 855 phone that we'll see launched in 2019 will be the next OnePlus, most likely the OnePlus 7. It'll appear in the UK courtesy of EE exclusively at first, and then roll out onto other networks as well. We don't have a specific release date just yet, but you can probably expect it to hit around sort of April-May time. And we're then expected a slew of other Snapdragon 855 smartphones from the likes of Sony, Samsung, all the big manufacturers basically, to start hitting as well. So are you already excited about Snapdragon 855? Definitely let us know in the comments below, and as I say, for more on the latest and greatest tech, don't forget to poke subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers!
Hey there, my name's Gary Sims and this is Gary Explains. Now, while I was at CES this year, I was able to run Speed Test G on the Qualcomm reference device for the Snapdragon 855 platform. I pitted it against the Note 9 and of course the 855 One. Now, Xiaomi have released the Xiaomi Mi 9. It also has the Snapdragon 855, so this is the first time I can test it on a consumer product. So, what we've got today is the Xiaomi Mi 9 versus the Qualcomm reference device, and let's see who's going to win. So without further ado, let the testing begin. And we're off. On the left-hand side, we have the Qualcomm reference device with the Snapdragon 855. On the right-hand side, we have the Xiaomi Mi 9, of course, with also the Snapdragon 855, and an early lead here by the Mi 9. It went into the 2048 test ahead of the Qualcomm reference device. This is going to be a close competition. They both have the same chipsets in them. These are one of the first generations of 855 phones. Blur test in the lead there by the Xiaomi Mi 9. This really is going to be neck and neck right up until the very finish line. We expect the Xiaomi Mi 9 to come in faster because maybe Xiaomi have tweaked the design, and the SQLite test is going pretty good on both devices, and we are still now almost neck and neck. The Qualcomm reference device is slightly behind there as we go into the 3D cubes test. Xiaomi should have had some time to tweak this, to really optimize it for their own ecosystem, for their own manufacturing processes. Both devices are now in the two. Oh, look at that. In the 16 thread test, the reference device went into that first. So the lead has been taken back now by the reference device, and they're both now plowing their way through this 16 thread test. Up next, of course, is the Unity test. Have they tweaked the GPU? Are they running a higher clock frequency on the GPU? We're going to find out now through this test here. It looks pretty evenly matched at the moment. Both devices are going very smoothly. Both devices are really tearing through these so many polygons and so much detail that we've got in this test. And it looks to me as if which one is in the device, they're not equal anymore. One of them is certainly in the lead. And it looks to me as if it's the Xiaomi Mi 9 in the lead. The Xiaomi Mi 9 is actually doing better. It's hit that castle scene and it's already in the compression. Look at this. Unbelievable. And now the Qualcomm reference device is in its compression test as well. Who's going to finish first? There you go. The Mi 9 with 1 minute and 35 seconds, .4, and the reference device with 1 minute 37.9. And so there you have it. The Xiaomi Mi 9 is the fastest device ever to run speed test G, so congratulations Xiaomi. Now obviously there are other 855 based devices coming very soon, and I want to get hold of as many of those as I can and test them against each other, but for today, Xiaomi is the king. My name is Gary Sims, this is Gary Explains. I really hope you enjoyed this speed test G video. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. Please do share it on social media. Don't forget to subscribe, and well, that's it. I'll see you in the next one.